Okay guys, welcome back. We're still out here at the lovely Brampton Golf Club. Today we've got a little double test, we're going to call it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been wanting to hit JPX 921 outdoors just as a general test.
Yeah.
But you had a good point that turf interaction between a wider sole club and a narrow sole club is something that I don't think enough people are aware of.
Yeah.
Like how much of an impact that has on your actual launch numbers.
I think it's a really vital piece of the club fitting puzzle that is missing from most fits. I don't really think, if people are being honest, if they've ever been in fits and people talk to them too much about sole design, turf interaction.
No.
You know, I get customers who laugh at me and go, "Oh, I love that turf interaction." You know, interacting with the turf, and it's true though.
It's real, yeah.
It's a real thing, and it's something that affects ball speed, it affects launch and spin,
Yeah.
it affects feel for you guys.
100%.
So it's definitely something worth looking into a little bit today. I don't think it's as straightforward as people think it is.
No, and I've seen that with you a lot of times. I know the type of sole you prefer.
Yeah.
When we did your iron fit, I knew there were certain irons that were kind of a big maybe.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got the more narrow options, like T100s were always good.
Yeah.
Yours, I think, are probably the best blend of it because they've got like that kind of double sole
That's right.
front edge there.
Yeah.
It's not just who the wide sole's for generally. I think Ronnie was a good example. The wide sole club makes sense for him for launch and spin.
Sure.
Didn't make sense for him striking the ball, and that's why
Yeah.
he ended up with MMCs.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that is a really good point, and takes us into the sort of, you know, the fitter has to be mindful of what he's affecting. So sure, wider sole leaves you more placement for things like tungsten and
Yes.
bringing that CG a little bit lower, but it also means you have to deal with more surface mass.
Absolutely.
So that isn't to everyone's liking. You know, we always talk about nice kind of clean turf interaction. To be honest, when you fit tour players, it's all they really talk about.
True enough.
Is the turf interaction. So they're really mindful. They don't really miss hit it, you know, toe and
True,
heel.
right? Yeah.
So really for them, the feedback is mostly how the club gets in and out the turf, and I think that's something that amateur golfers can really learn from.
Absolutely. So we've got two perfect models for this, I think.
Yeah.
Hot metal standard model.
Yes.
And the tour model of JPX. I mean, you're talking about double the width of
Double
the
the
sole?
width.
Something like that?
And realistically, looking at this one, and we both admired it when we were kind of looking at it earlier on, and it's not even one of the wider ones,
No,
is it?
It gets wider from there, big time.
There are some ones that are extreme on the super game improvement. You know, think of that PXG SGI head.
Yes.
I mean, that thing is borderline a hybrid.
It is pretty much a hybrid
Yeah.
iron, isn't it? Yeah, true enough.
Okay, well, we'll get some baseliners with this. We are going to run through some numbers and again, just
Yeah.
share thoughts with the JPX 921. I know you guys are still early in the discovery phase with what's it all about, who's it for.
Definitely.
So we will touch on that as well, but really we're going to be focusing a lot on sort of sole width and how that interacts with turf.
Perfect.
Good.
Okay. Good swing there. It sounded really well struck. Sounded really good too. Yeah, better strike there.
Like it, yeah.
What are you feeling with that sole? So we know obviously this is not, you're not the type of player that loves a bigger sole.
No, I really don't.
What
Doesn't do well
What
for
do you
me.
feel like? Does it make you feel like you're avoiding the turf more? Do you try to pick the ball
Yeah.
more in that sense?
I get a sense when I'm coming through, like the club is just really being hindered by the ground. It's not got that kind of crispness where it's in and out very quickly. There's like almost a dull noise that tells me the club is in there too long.
Gotcha.
It's just stuck there for a while.
Yeah.
Whereas the kind of higher pitched, kind of crisper sound is the club, ball and out
Right.
very quickly. Yeah, so I think that's the feedback I get from something on the wider side like this.
And how does that affect someone's launch and spin generally? If the sole width is it's getting stuck in there a bit, will they tend to sort of lose some ball speed? And
Yeah, they will. They'll lose a lot of ball speed. They will have inconsistent launch conditions.
Gotcha.
Kind of already starting to see a little bit of that with mine, but
We'll be curious to see. The tour is quite a bit weaker lofted,
Yeah.
but way thinner sole. Be curious if you can get similar ball speeds
definitely
with that design.
Definitely. Probably the best strike
Yeah.
of the bunch.
That's well hit. Turned it over nicely. A little more speed. Yeah, it definitely seems like you're almost forcing yourself to kind of pick the ball a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of shallower divot by
yeah,
necessity.
I almost think I need to be more precise with this than the other one.
Which is bizarre. Like
Yeah.
someone would think, okay, it's a forgiving club,
Yeah.
but forgiveness is different dimensions. The turf one is the one that people aren't
Yeah.
as aware of.
And if you scroll through that table there, I mean, look at the carry numbers on those first few.
Yeah.
They're all over the map.
Yes.
Right? So I'm not achieving that consistency. And really the reason that somebody goes into a club like this is to protect them off mishits and stuff like that.
True.
I could have quite feasibly end up with worse mishits off a game improvement club than I would off of a players club, and end up with wider gaps on a good one versus a mishit.
That's a great point. So you can't just go, give me the most forgiving club. You also need to fit sole width as kind of its own
You do.
thing.
It's its own component.
Wow.
It really is.
Nice. Swing. Nice. Yeah, those last two are definitely
Last
better.
two are
Kind of
better.
found your window a bit more.
Yeah.
Spins, I mean, spin's still good. Upper 5,000s. What feel-wise, we're outside now. We hit those indoors, obviously.
Yep.
I do think for a game improvement iron, they sound pretty good.
They do sound good.
You do outdoors perceive a bit of clickiness. It's not a lot, but
Yep.
it's a bit different than it would have been indoors for us.
Yep.
Feel reasonably soft though?
They feel very soft. Yeah, they definitely do not feel hard. They don't feel anything like that at all.
So what's the type of player that sole is fine for? Do you need to be steeper, ideally, for the wider sole?
Honestly, it doesn't really have a one size fits into this sort of pattern.
Just need to
really,
test it.
yeah, it just really depends on that player. You know, I think still gravitating towards the player who's trying to get a little bit more air under it. You know, the wider sole, bring that CG down a little bit.
Very different flight right away.
Yeah, different. Okay, so the first two have went within, what, 1 yard of one another?
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting. You look like you're taking more of a divot with that one.
You definitely will.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the wider soles get you in and out. So what I'm feeling in that clumsy contact is the club sort of being, it's not going in.
So it's on top,
kind of just
staying
like-
on top of the turf.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Whereas you want to get it moving in the turf so that the sweet spot's at the
In and
right
out.
height.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So 3 shots in a row with 1 yard apart each time.
Yeah.
And your launch and spin are not moving nearly as much as what we saw initially. So that basically, if you talk about turf interaction, you're just trying to make the strike pattern stay in the same spot. Is that
Definitely.
most of what it is?
Um,
Strike height, like you don't
strike
want it to be
height would
thin and-
definitely be part of it. It's
Right.
just what's so funny though is I felt like the contact was so much worse with the game improvement one.
Yeah. Well, it's shown in the numbers, absolutely. I mean,
What were the ball speeds on the three good one with the tour?
so your last one was 129.
Yeah.
I think that was your best swing.
Okay.
Your other ones were kind of 127, 128.
Okay.
So certainly not low.
Yeah.
But we've got at least 2 degrees less loft.
So
Something like
yeah, this was 30. The other one would be 26.
that. So
full
we're
club.
talking. The fact that it's even in the same ballpark shows me that you're just getting a way better strike out of that.
Yeah.
Because you had a couple with hot metal that were 130. So to
Yeah.
be 1 mile an hour behind in ball speed with 4 degrees more
Absolutely.
loft is
Yeah.
crazy. That's really nice.
It's came out low spin, eh?
Yeah, a little bit. But what you said about distance regulation is pretty interesting because if I look at all of your tour shots,
Mm-hmm.
185, 188, 187, 186 on the carries. They're all carrying within
Yeah.
2 yards of each
Yeah.
other. So you basically got wedge level distance control with that
Yeah.
sole. Whereas with the hot metal, yeah, you hit a couple, 200 yards with it, great.
Yeah.
But you also mixed in like some 190s, and so you're not going to trust that yardage
Yeah.
on the course.
That's the point, isn't it, for people to pay attention to? What are you struggling with? Are you struggling to get the ball to the pin? Sure, go for distance.
Definitely.
Are you struggling to hit your number consistently? Okay, we'll shy away from maybe the game improvement stuff where you have a little bit less consistency and
Yes.
precision into something that maybe you are going to sacrifice half a club.
And there's ways to go narrow sole, stronger loft. Like T100S is a good.
It's a great one.
You can do that if you want the distance and
Yep.
and keep the sole narrow. Yeah, good swing. Sounded really nice. Yeah, another one at that exact yardage. Good. Needless to say, if you were fitting yourself for a JPX, you'd kind of be hard to ignore how good that is for
It would
yardage.
be, yeah, it really would be. Trying to just hit your number consistently. All right, so wide sole, narrow sole, we definitely saw the benefits of that. To be honest,
Definitely.
that actually worked out a little better than I even probably expected that it would.
Absolutely, yeah. The consistency story and the fact that you kept up in ball speed despite the huge loft
Yeah.
difference, it really showed that narrow sole was just giving you more kind of output.
A lot more.
Yeah.
And just hopefully it kind of, guys, it shows you that the fit should never be a distance game.
Yeah, true.
It should never just be about how far does it go. Oh, that one was, this ball speed or that. It's which one can you repeat and which one can you be, the best version of yourself the most often.
Well, if you looked at this and said your 6-iron is going to go within 2 yards on an average of 6 or 7 shots, that's
anyone who wouldn't take that.
Yeah, you'd have a hard time saying I don't want that tour.
I know.
It would be the easy choice.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that was
pretty interesting test.
Quite interesting.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
if someone's looking for, obviously, you're not necessarily going to be the narrow sole person that you are. You may not be the wide sole person that someone else is.
Yeah.
The forged is basically halfway in between the two of them for sole width.
Yeah.
You should be able to get some pop off the lower loft, but not so wide that it might kind of stick in the ground for you.
I really think that a lot of people will more people, 80%, 90% will funnel into Hot Metal Pro.
Yeah.
Or
forged. Yeah.
I think those two heads will capture the widest market.
Because the Pro is forgiving enough.
It really is.
And it's just a little more compact. It'll suit people's eye a bit better too.
Yeah. I think both of those guys are the ones to go out and hit and try.
Definitely.
The 921 Forge though, to me, just has the winner written all over it for so many of you. I really emphasise you to go out and try that. Make sure that is part of your test session.
Yeah.
P770 that we talked a lot about, obviously that's going to be great. A little bit different, a little bit more techie. You would expect that from a TaylorMade product.
Yeah.
Maybe a Mizuno product has a little bit more of a classic acoustic and stuff like that, and I really see that
Softer
in
feel
the
in there.
fits.
Yeah.
Customers do tend to give us that feedback that the forged chromoly is very soft but very fast. P770s, they just love the look of it, but some people don't love the acoustic, the clicky acoustic to it.
That's fair enough.
So it's a little higher pitched, but again, some people will tell us that they think that's great because it feels like the ball's really jumping off the face.
It's very subjective, isn't it?
It's all very subjective and
Good.
unique to you guys. So just get out there and test it. Keep an open mind. Look for the numbers to be consistent, though, guys. That's one thing we really emphasise. Obviously you're fitter. That's their expertise, and you're going to take that expertise, but that burden's on you too to make sure that you're in there for the right reasons. It's not a distance game. It's not chasing down the farthest you can hit it. You're just trying to be the best player that you can be.
Absolutely.
Guys, keep on watching. We'll see you again soon.